This marks the concluding chapter of the fanfiction series. While the fanfiction is advertised as having 69 chapters, it is noteworthy that one chapter solely comprises the author's brief remarks. With the culmination of this episode, the fanfiction adaptation concludes officially. I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed the entire journey, and I extend my heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support. May you find continued enjoyment in the final installment. Legacy Chapter 68, Epilogue. 3 years had passed since the final battle between Naruto and Madara. 3 years, the 20-year-old Naruto said out loud, looking at dimming sun on the horizon. Nothing had changed in his appearance to the exception of a more rugged face and a couple inches in height. He stood clad in nothing but boxers, admiring the darkening sky from the balcony. After the war had been settled and the city was up and running properly, Naruto and Hinata finally had their small wedding ceremony, and were now enjoying their honeymoon in Spring Country. Republic City had become the capital of the Elemental Nations. The largest city in the world with a population of millions. Their gates were open to the world and anyone who wished to both visit and come to live in the large city. Republic City was home to a variety of iconic landmarks. A spacious city park, compliments of Senju Hashirama. At the very entrance of city stood 2 gigantic statues of Naruto and Madara, just like the ones in the Valley of the End. And at the center, the Shadow Tower, both home and workplace to the man who watched over the city. Oatsuki Naruto, Shodame Kage, First Shadow, of Republic City. No element was chosen to his title to remind people for what the city stood for. It was home for any shinobi, from any nation. They had finally achieved it. Peace. Oatsuki Naruto. You read that correctly. Naruto chose to be named Senju back in Konoha to keep his clan name alive. But now both Hashirama and Tobirama were alive. He chose to honor Hagoromo and bring once more the ancient clan's name and reputation to life. He was after all his reincarnation, just as Hinata was Himura's. Naruto, a sleep-roughed voice murmured seconds before he felt Hinata hugging him from behind. Come back to bed. He slowly turned around to face Hinata. She like him hadn't changed much. The biggest difference was perhaps her now longer hair, reaching her ankles in length. He wrapped his arms around her small frame and pulled her for a soft kiss under the dimming sun in the sky. Hinata leaned into the kiss and sighed in bliss. We spent the day in bed, he said as they separated. Hinata was looping her arms around his neck when Naruto caught her hand. They slid their fingers together and Naruto brought Hinata's wedding ring between their faces. One ring to show our love. One ring to bind us, Naruto began and Hinata smiled softly. One ring to seal our love. And forever to entwine us, Hinata finished leaning for another kiss. Want to go down for some dinner? He asked, kissing her forehead gently. Sure, she replied and went back inside to get dressed. Knock knock. Both Naruto and Hinata turned towards the door. 1 minute, Naruto replied, walking towards the bed and throwing a quick kimono on. Come in. The door opened and a well-dressed man stepped inside. From the badge on his shirt Naruto deduced he was part of the hotel staff they were staying. I'm truly sorry for interrupting, Lord Naruto, the man said, bowing. Nonsense, Naruto waved him off. What is it you need? There is a man in the reception that wishes to speak with Lady Hinata, the man informed the couple. Did you tell anyone where we were coming? Naruto asked towards Hinata, who shook her head in denial. Naruto shrugged his shoulders and turned to the hotel man. We will be down momentarily, he replied. The man bowed and left the room. Wait, Naruto said, stopping the man from leaving. Did he give his name? Naruto asked. No sir, the man replied and walked off. Naruto and Hinata came down from their rooms and entered the lobby to speak to this mysterious person. Whatever they were expecting, it certainly wasn't this. The man had pale skin with shaggy white hair and rather sharp, pointed features. He had 6 Magatama designs tattooed on his collarbones to resemble a necklace. He wore a white, high-collared kimono with a black obi, over which he wore a pale green sash tied at the right shoulder. On the back of his kimono was the Otsutsuki clan emblem of a yellow crest depicting a sun enclosed in a crescent moon. Great! Another fanboy, Naruto thought grimly after looking at the man's attire. Naruto and Hinata were famous and known worldwide. It wasn't the first time some random person would dress up and try to talk to them. He even has my clan symbol correctly, Naruto mused and thought. You wanted to speak with me? Hinata asked, stepping forward. The man smiled and extended his arm to her. I've come for you, Hinata, the man said. Come for me, Hinata repeated in confusion. She looked at Naruto, who shrugged his shoulders, but she could see a faint amusement in his face. Who are you? My name is Otsutsuki Tonari, Tonari replied with a smile. Of course it is, Naruto thought with a snicker. Why don't you open your eyes? Hinata asked with curiosity. Tonari smiled and lifted his eyelids to reveal nothing but hollow sockets. My eyes were removed when I was but child. They were sealed inside the Tensigen, a sacred possession of my clan, Tonari explained, and Naruto immediately lost his smile. His Rinnegan was common knowledge, but Hinata's Tensigen was not. Only close family knew of her eyes. And for a stranger to know of it in such trivial manner was worrisome. What do you want? Naruto asked sharply. This is a celestial decree. The final day is approaching. Before that day, I will come for you, Hinata, Tonari said moments before he shimmered out of existence. Anything I should know? Naruto asked with amusement. Hinata looped her arm around his as they walked to the dining room. They are getting more creative by the day, Hinata stated. Zetsu, Naruto called out, and a white Zetsu popped from the ground. Who is that guy? He asked. I have no idea, Zetsu replied and sunk into the ground once more. Helpful. Few days later the world was getting chaotic with the number of meteorites coming down from the sky. Naruto, being the one in charge of the capital, was obviously informed that the moon was breaking apart and the chunks of rock were raining down on Earth. Don't tell me I'll have to blow it up. Naruto mused out loud, looking at the bright moon in the dark sky. His powers had doubled since the time he fought against Madara, 3 long years ago. Destroying the moon would be rather easy, and creating another to take its place just as easy. You are not blowing up the moon, Hinata said with a sweat drop. Suddenly there was a small puff of smoke and a slug appeared in the middle of the room. Urgent message from Tsunade-sama, the slug said quickly, and Hinata rushed to the scroll. Naruto drew his attention back to the moon until he heard Hinata gasp in shock. What's wrong? He asked. Hanabi has been kidnapped, Hinata answered, reading through the remnants of the letter. What? By who? Naruto asked with both surprise and shock. No name, just his description, Hinata answered and began listing the description of the kidnapper. White hair, pale skin. Tonari, she hissed, thrusting her letter to Naruto. The fanboy? No way. Naruto said, quickly reading the letter as well. He was reading as fast as he could, but he could already feel chakra leaking from Hinata, and the room they were staying was already creaking in complaint. Hinata, calm down, Naruto said sternly. He has my sister, Hinata bit back, but Naruto didn't offended by her harsh words. He said he would come for you, right? Then we simply wait, Naruto said, and Hinata frowned. Easy for you to say. He could be hurting her, Hinata said sadly and sat down at the edge of the bed. As if speaking of the devil, a shadow was cast above the couple. Tonari was floating down from the sky on some golden platform. His previous hollow sockets now bore bright blue eyes. I've come for you, Hinata, Tonari said with a smile. Where is Hanabi? Hinata asked, getting ready to pound Tonari to the ground if necessary. Her Byakugan is so pure, Tonari said, gently running his fingers over his eyes. Question. Naruto interrupted before Hinata destroyed anything. Do you know who we are? She is Hyuga Hinata, the Byakugan princess. You on the other hand, I have no idea, Tonari stated and Naruto sighed. Figured as much. So you are the one behind the moon's destruction, Naruto said, running a hand through his long hair. Another enemy had appeared and this one wanted to wipe out the whole world. It's your punishment for weaponizing chakra. You destroyed the world Hagoromo created long ago, Tonari said with conviction. I guess there is no choice then, Naruto sighed. My name, Naruto began, his blue eyes filling with silver. Is Oatsutsuki Naruto? Tonari's eyes widened in mix of surprise and fear upon gazing at the Rinnegan. Why you can't have those eyes, Tonari snarled in anger. They belonged to only one man. I will not let Hagoromo's legacy end in shame, Tonari said fiercely, his eyes glowing. Amanamanaka, Naruto whispered. The space surrounding all three shinobi twisted and the hotel room where they stood was replaced by a vast desert full of sand dunes. Tonari blinked as his surrounding changed in the blink of an eye. He looked to the horizon but could find no end to the desert. What is this? Tonari asked in disbelief. What happened? Welcome, Tonari, to one of many dimensions I can access with my eyes, Naruto said, his arms gesturing towards the desert. You made a mistake in trying to destroy our world. And you are going to stop me? Tonari sneered. Not me. She is going to stop you, Naruto said pointing to Hinata. Tonari raised an eyebrow and turned to Hinata only to pale at the visage he was seeing. Hinata had her own Tensigen activated, her long white hair billowing dangerously behind her back. 5 minutes later Tonari was lying broken and bleeding on the sand. You are a hypocrite, Tonari. You claim that destroying the world is our punishment for weaponizing chakra, and yet you use the very same weapons against us, Hinata said, approaching the fallen man. We won't allow you to destroy the peace we achieved. Something that so many people gave their lives to create, Naruto said, aiming his right hand to the defeated enemy, a small translucent cube appearing at the palm of his hand. Who are you? Tonari coughed a mouthful of blood, nearly choking on the amount. We are not heroes, Naruto began. We are not villains, Hinata added. We are what the world needs us to be. Watchful protectors, swords in the darkness, shields in the light. We are eternal guardians, they finished together. Naruto's dust release technique expanded and completely vaporized Tonari's body. Both watched as Tonari's body disappeared. Back in their home dimension, the moon stopped its approach. No one would know what had happened, why the moon had suddenly stopped. They didn't need to know. They were safe. Let's go get Hanabi, Naruto said. Space twisted once more and they found themselves in the moon, particularly inside the castle of Hamura. They easily found Hanabi in one of the rooms. Her eyes still bandaged from the eye surgery. Naruto waved his hand above Hanabi's face and restored her eyes. Let's leave this place, Naruto said, looping his arm around Hinata and returning to the earth, but not before leaving behind a small glowing white ball. The white ball exploded and destroyed everything inside the temple. Hamura's legacy was alive inside Hinata. There was no use for empty ruins. 5 years later Hinata yelled in pain, clutching to Naruto's hand. Come on Hinata, one more push, Shizen said, lifting her head to look at Hinata, her sweaty hair clinging to her skin. The reason Hinata was in pain was because she was giving birth to twins. Twins, 2 boys to be more precise. Wah. A cry broke Hinata's concentration when she saw the firstborn. Come on, Hinata-chan. Only one more to go, Naruto joked next her, trying to lighten the mood. You wanna swap places? Hinata snapped, making Naruto pale when he saw her hair flickering between white and dark blue. Naruto very wisely shut up and remained to her side, holding her hand. A couple minutes later the room was filled with a second cry, making Hinata sigh in relief. Naruto smiled and his hand glowed green. Hinata turned to Naruto, giving a thank you smile when she felt her body being revitalized. Naruto didn't dare to do it during the birth process. Look at them, Naruto cooed, picking the bundle-wrapped boys and sitting next to Hinata. Thank you, Hinata-chan, Naruto smiled, feeling one of the boys wrapping his little hand around his finger. You better. I had all the work, Hinata grinned and Naruto laughed loudly. Don't cry little guy, Naruto stopped laughing so loud when he saw the baby was about to cry. Aw, look at those little kittens, Matatabi drooled from inside Hinata, looking at the small humans. Have you chosen names? Shizun asked, stepping into the resting room after cleaning up. Naruto and Hinata looked at each other. Well, there is one baby for each of us, Naruto grinned while Hinata nodded. Madara, Naruto replied softly, gently rocking the small, black-haired boy. Oatsutsuki Madara. Hinata smiled to herself. She knew he was going to choose that name even though he told people he still hadn't decided. What about your little guy, Hinata? Shizun asked, drooling over the other boy and his impressive mop of blonde hair. How about Ryu? Hinata whispered, testing the name. Oatsutsuki Ryu, my little dragon. Shizun, can you give us the room? Naruto asked. Shizun nodded and stepped outside the room, leaving the fresh parents alone with their kids. Is something wrong with them? Hinata quickly asked the moment Shizun stepped outside. No, Naruto replied just as fast. Hinata took a deep breath to calm down. Naruto gently placed Madara on the bed next to his brother. He grimaced as his eyes were filled with silver and he looked at both his sons. With my eyes, I can clearly see. Indra and Ashura's chakra clinging tightly to them, Naruto said, and Hinata's eyes widened. She turned her own Tensigen only to realize the cold truth once more. Madara was Indra's reincarnation while Ryu was Ashura's. It seemed that once more they were destined to fight each other. What are we going to do? Hinata asked sadly while Naruto snarled in anger. No more, he said, placing one hand on top of each baby. You will not plague my sons. It's time to break the chain. I'm ending this curse for good. Naruto's Rinnegan glowed like nothing ever before. The room was bathed in silver as he started extracting the chakra of both transmigrants. Ashura came willingly, as if he had felt his father's pull and simply allowed Naruto to absorb him from Ryu. Indra was the complete opposite. He resisted, clinging desperately to Madara, but in the end he was also absorbed by Naruto. With both chakras finally dispersed, it marked the end of the feud between the two brothers. It's done, Naruto said, removing his hands and looking at the bright blue color of his son's chakra. They will be great on their own. Naruto placed the babies on their nessie that stood next to Hinata's bed. There is something else I wanted to ask you for a while, Naruto said seriously, sitting on the edge of Hinata's bed. Which is? I finally cracked it. Immortality, Naruto replied with a chuckle. After hours upon hours of reading biology and experimenting he had done it. Really? Hinata asked with doubt. Look at this, Naruto said, and with no hesitation proceeded to chop off his left hand at wrist level. Hinata blinked and was about to criticize Naruto on his recklessness when the hand on floor crumbled into nothing. She drew her attention back to Naruto and could only watch with fascination as new hand regrew quickly. The bone grew back, followed by the flesh and finally being topped off by pink skin. How? Hinata asked with no small amount of disbelief. It's actually fairly easy. I just needed to break the Hayflick limit and couple that with a faster cell division, enhanced immune system, and we have the perfect vessel, Naruto explained, and Hinata could only nod. Which brings me to my question. Will you stand with me, forever? He asked, making Hinata's eyes soften. Of course I will, knucklehead, Hinata replied softly. Excellent, Naruto cheered, taking care to keep the noise low and don't awake his sons. What about Ryu and Madara? She asked, looking at the peacefully sleeping babies. I will offer them the choice when they are ready, Naruto replied. Now get naked, he said, making Hinata blink in surprise. Naked? She asked, narrowing her eyes at the blonde. I need to apply a seal, Naruto said, completely oblivious to Hinata's suspicions. She sighed and removed her clothes, lying naked on the bed. Naruto-kun? Hinata asked, drawing the attention from his current work. What seal is this anyway? Hinata asked with curiosity. The seal was being drawn all over her body. The drawing itself seemed like a net all around her skin with some type of lock sitting right between the valley of her breasts, directly on top of her heart. This might sting a little bit, Naruto said and closed his eyes and opened them to show the Rinnegan with a silvery glow. Hinata was enveloped in a silver light and she could feel tingling sensations all over her body. Her own Byakugan flared to life to notice what was happening in her body. Her eyes widened when she saw that every single cell in her body was being affected at once. Naruto seemed to be messing with the cellular division since Hinata recognized the patterns. Is he changing the proteins? Hinata wondered. She recognized that Naruto was messing up with her cells, but she didn't recognize what exactly he was doing or the ramifications it would bring. The glow seemed to die down and Naruto placed his hand on top of the seal lock. Fuin, seal, Naruto muttered as the whole seal array glowed whitish before dying down and disappearing completely from view, like he had never been there in the first place. Naruto hummed when he realized that Hinata had asked something. What did you ask again? Naruto asked, rubbing the back of his head. What seal is this? Hinata asked as she started getting dressed. Our body can regenerate itself completely as long as a single cell remains. This seal binds your soul to your vessel as long there is something of it left. It also differentiates between bodies, completely destroying the one without our soul. Should you ever be split into two or more pieces, and several bodies be regenerated at once, the seal will make sure only one body remains, Naruto explained, and Hinata nodded in fascination. He seemed to have thought this through. I give you the pinnacle of the sealing arts, Naruto said, taking a small amount of pride in his work. The Ion no Inochi Fuin, seal of everlasting life. Well, at least for now, he added in afterthought. What do you mean for now? Hinata asked, stressing the last words. What I'm trying to say, Hinata-chan, is that we are freaks of nature, you and I, Naruto said, running a hand through his hair. Hinata raised an eyebrow at his declaration but remained silent. Look at us. We are above the S rank now. Hashirama, Tobirama, Minato, Itachi, now, all-powerful shinobi, and yet we could crush them all almost effortlessly. I have a theory that you and I would become immortals regardless of our vessels and this seal, Naruto sighed. What makes you say that? She asked quietly. Our powerful chakra. We have grown too powerful to simply die and move on, Naruto said and stopped, letting the words sink in. When the day comes that we finally die, we could choose to reincarnate, like Indra and Ashura did, Naruto explained. But, Hinata said and stopped momentarily. But we wouldn't remember anything. All the memories and experiences that make us who we are would be lost. I suppose that might be true, Naruto conceded before grasping her hand tenderly. Regardless, I would find you when and wherever you stood. 20 years later, Naruto is 45, Naruto was strolling through the city park of the city, enjoying the fresh air and the small contact with nature. He nodded to those who greeted him as he walked through the cobblestone path until he reached the center of the park itself. In the middle of the park stood a single monument. The stone was white marble and it resembled some type of coffin. By the monument stood two shinobi, one on each side, with perfect posture. Naruto walked towards the monument, stopping behind the wire that surrounded the monument. Tomb of the Unknown Warrior. In Memoriam. The world's unknown warrior. Killed in the Fourth Great Shinobi War. All honor to him, friend or foe, who fought and died for his nation. May the tragedy of his supreme sacrifice bring to us, the living, enlightenment and inspiration. Fill us with ever-mounting zeal for the all-compelling quest of peace. The Tomb of the Unknown Warrior was a monument dedicated to the shinobi who have died without their remains being identified. Throughout history, many shinobi have died in war with their remains being unidentified. This was in dedication to the services of an unknown shinobi and to the common memories of all shinobi killed in any war. However, to Naruto, the monument contained the crypt of Namikaze Hanako. And resting on top of her coffin, a single head protector with the leaf symbol. Madara's head protector for the days he belonged to the Leaf Village. Sensei, Naruto heard a familiar voice. I figured I would find you here. Naruto turned around to look at one of the students belonging to his old three-man genin cell. Sasuke, along with his son, Madara, and a civilian-born Kunoichi were his genin team. Sasuke-kun, Naruto smiled. Sasuke walked until he stood next to him. He gave a small bow to the monument and turned towards Naruto. They are looking for you. The other Kages are already here, Sasuke said, and Naruto nodded. Thank for telling me. I'll be there in a moment, Naruto replied, and Sasuke nodded, walking off. Uchiha Sasuke. Only son of Itachi and now Uchiha. Sasuke had black eyes as well as black hair with a blue tint to it. His hair was spiky in the back, and he had chin-length bangs that parted down to frame both sides of his face. He was almost a carbon copy of Itachi's deceased younger brother, with the exception he had the same pronounced tear troughs as Itachi. Naruto stifled a yawn and bowed to the monument before disappearing in a yellow flash. Kage Tower, Shadow Tower, Naruto appeared in the middle of his office. The office looked exactly the same as it was since he left it in the morning. His eyes roamed through the room that had an easy similarity to the Hokage's office back in Konoha. A simple wooden desk in the middle of the room, this one completely deprived of paperwork. Naruto could dispatch of his daily work in a couple of hours with a few clones so that he could spend his time on other things. Behind the desk were 4 large windows, giving him an overview of the entire city. Since the Shadow Tower was the tallest of all buildings, Naruto could see up to the edge of gates from his office. He sat down on the chair, getting almost a nostalgic feeling when the chair shrieked under his weight. On the desk stood a couple of pictures. A picture of his wedding with Hinata. He had worn a simple black kimono while Hinata had garbed an elegant white kimono with purple streaks. She was clutching to Naruto's arms lovingly, a beaming smile on her face while Naruto was grinning. The last picture on the desk was a similar picture but with both his sons. It was the day they had finally graduated from the academy and entered into the ranks of shinobi as genin. Madara and Ryu were fist-bumping with shit-eating grins plastered across their faces. Naruto and Hinata simply stood behind them, their hands on top of their son's shoulders. I think I'll miss this, Naruto muttered out loud and got up, the chair complaining once more. Kurama, you coming? Naruto asked with the fox lying on the floor, nuzzled next to the couch. Later, Kurama mumbled, rolling to the other side and proceeding to continue his nap. All you do is sleep, Naruto muttered and walked outside. He opened the door and with one final look back, he closed it behind him. Kage meeting, how come the guy that lives here is late? Ren asked once she saw the blonde walking through the door. I'm an old man, Ren-chan. Have some mercy, Naruto chuckled until he saw Ren's eyes twitch. We are the same age. Are you calling me old? Ren asked very sweetly. Of course not, Naruto paled. You are but a flower in the spring of youth, Naruto replied and sighed in relief when he saw Ren nod in agreement. And while Naruto was already immortal, the world around him couldn't know. For that reason, both he, Hinata and a couple others were employing a small transformation to make them seem older. Naruto's face was showing a few wrinkles and even his hair already supported a few white strands of hair. Naruto sat down on his chair and eyed the room. It sure looked very different from the first Kage meeting he attended, all those years ago. Ren Gushiken, Yondame Tsuchikage. Darui, Godame Reikage. Chojuro, Rokudame Mizukage. Baki, Godame Kazekage. Sarutobi Konohamaru, Nanadame Hokage. Waraji, Mifune son and leader of samurai. Shibuki, the Kage from Takigakure, Hidden Waterfall Village. Kyuzugakure, Yugakure, Hoshigakure, Yumgakure, Ishigakure among several others villages. With the new United Nations system, every village, no matter how big or small, had a representative, being its very leader or a spokesman. There are around 20 people in the meeting, one that happened twice a year unless someone called for one. So, are you gonna tell us the reason this meeting couldn't wait one more month for the scheduled one? Darui asked, leaning back on the chair. This may come as sudden but I called this meeting to say I'm stepping down, Naruto said and a silence ensued. Moments later the room erupted in a multitude of questions. Naruto raised his hand and the room quieted down, waiting for his words. I've held my seat for 28 years. I think it's time for some fresh leadership. As such, I've chosen Uchiha Sasuke, my former student to take my place. I'll be teaching Sasuke to handle the city for the next couple of years until he's ready, Naruto explained, but everybody remained silent. But why? Ren whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. I have things I need to do before my death. The city will be in capable hands, Naruto replied, assuring the leaders at the table. I expect that Sasuke will be taking my place at the next meeting, Naruto said and stepped out of the room, leaving everyone bewildered. A few weeks later, Orochimaru was found dead by Jiraiya's spies. The cause of death was declared as accidental jutsu. Around 40 years later, he was called many names. Demon, monster, fox, thunder god, hero, god of the shinobi, the one above all, savior of this world, but I think the names he would be most proud of would be leader, teacher, husband, father, friend. This is the funeral of Otsutsuki Naruto, the Shodame Kage, first shadow, Sasuke said, looking at the ocean of people standing in front of him. Thousands of people had come to Naruto's burial. They came to thank the man that had changed the world. Overlooking the funeral, standing on top of the shadow tower stood one very alive Naruto with Hinata by his side. All the signs of age Naruto bore were gone, and were replaced by a young face. Naruto turned to his wife only to see her crying. Why so many tears? Naruto asked softly, wrapping his arms around Hinata and burying her head in his chest. It's just. Hinata sobbed. I feel like we are abandoning them. I know, Naruto whispered, gently squeezing her. But they made their choice. Besides, they have families of their own now. You knew this was coming, Naruto said, brushing her tears away. I know, she replied softly. Are you ready? Naruto asked and she nodded. Both Naruto and Hinata jumped on top of Silver. Let's go. Arrrrrrrrr. Silver stretched his massive wings and unleashed a loud roar before taking to the skies. The story of Otsutsuki Naruto may be over, but the story of the Eternal Guardians was just beginning. The end. Or is it? As we draw the curtains on this series, I look forward to reconnecting with you in future fanfictions or any other videos on my channel. Perhaps you'd like to revisit the entire journey by rewatching all the episodes? Regardless, I genuinely hope you've relished this experience. Until next time, see you in the next captivating adventure.